born too early to explore the Earth, and born too late to explore space, but born at the exact time to witness k3soju make it to Worlds. That's right, let's go! So yes, k3soju, Smojo, professional TFT player, professional streamer, first or eighth, all that. He is going to Worlds. He made it to Worlds by competing in regionals. What is regionals? A tournament where months of preparation and qualifiers and ladder placements and other tournaments, all of NA competing, got narrowed down to 24 people. That is what regionals is. And so regionals happened this past weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. The first day, Friday, 24 people down to 16. Second day, 16 people down to 8. This now, what I'm going to show you, is all of day 3. I'm going to show you it from Soju's perspective because he has a lot of good moments that I kind of want to highlight, and there's things that we can learn from. There's things that are interesting. I kind of want to build this storyline, and yeah. So let's get in there. So, first moment that I kind of want to highlight, this is the first game of the day. Let's just watch the clip here.
No gold. This guy's a volibear. This guy's a volibear. What the fuck? He has a volibear and...
So yeah, you can tell from his expression what he said. The game had just started, stage 1. His items, tier, belt, cloak, cannot slam anything, doesn't have pairs. Spoilers, he does not hit a single pair until stage 3. Or I mean, he does not hit a single upgrade until stage 3. He scouts, and 3 people have Volibear. So you already know at least one of them is hitting Shimmer. And, you know, the other ones, you know, they get a free Volibear. Volibear is pretty good in the early game. Considering his spot in stage 2, he was ready to get a bot 4 and then, you know, kind of tilt because you have a bad opener, and then that kind of determines the rest of the games for the tournament. It's a lot easier to play from ahead. But he actually ended up getting a top 4, and his mental didn't get crushed, and he was hopeful going into game 2. So now I want to ask you, what are the most important things when you're looking to make a comp? You need damage items, you need tank items, you need anti-heal, you need healing on your carry, and you need some form of support in CC. Tank items, check. He basically has nothing but defensive items. Anti-heal, check. He has Sunfire Cape. Damage items, check. He has IE Goldmancers with Jeweled Lotus. Healing, not check. He needs healing. So when you're going into 4-2 trying to figure out your final augment, you're thinking, okay, well, I want some form of healing or something that will generate an item that can give me healing. So what are some augments that come to mind? You know, Thrill, CB. Obviously CB is better because it's already stage 4. So he gets offered these augments.
Do I even want Guardian? I'm pretty sure I just take everything out.
He doesn't like them. He removes his units, re-rolls, and he finds CB. It's perfect.
I need Ascension.
It's perfect. He goes Ascension.
I hope I didn't miss.
So he skips CB, goes for Ascension. He says, I have Guardian Spat on my Deja. I don't need healing. I already have a defensive item. I'm down to greed my late game potential, and that exact decision is essentially what wins him the game. Let's go to one of the final fights. Okay, so now we come here. You can see how his board resembles what his previous board was. We're in now the final stages of the game. There's 3 people alive, Rain and Precedent. He's looking for the 6th Guardian. He finds it with Nasus. He got a Guardian spat off of Carousel, so he can play 6th Guardian. Drops Mystic for the 6th Guardian. And in the very last second, whew, he makes the decision to sell some of his bench to roll down a bit more. Hits Ace Hole 2. And I mean, this Ace Hole goes to work. 6 Guardian is insane. Never dying. That Ace Hole, extra damage ramped up, Titans. Wipes the whole board. Now it's just him and Precedent in the head-to-head.
Oh, this position is not that good though.
Does this to dodge the Zephyrs, gets both of his frontline units Zephyred anyways. But I mean, 6 Guardian, yeah. Your units are just so tanky with 6 Guardian. Precedent pings him because he thought he won. And the Guardian Shield hadn't procced yet. And then the Guardian Shield procced and then he lost. And yeah, I mean, this head-to-head, Soju and Precedent, is really important later on in the tournament, so we'll talk more about that. But that win was, I mean, it was insane. So this is the second game. He ends up getting a first, and I mean, that decision to go Ascension over CB, I'm pretty sure is the reason why he won that game. You know, there's no way he could have known that he was going to be able to play 6 Guardian, but he already had Guardian Deja. He had a defensive item. If you go CB there, then it maybe is a bit too passive. And if you have tank items like he did with 4 or 6 Guardian, then you know you're almost always going to make it to the point where the Ascension is going to matter.
Guy fucking pings me.
And yeah, I mean, Ascension, Ace Hole, Ascension, Deja. If you can get to that spot, you can. I mean, that's how you win games. You know.
After the Guardian procs, he instantly types wait. Like, bruh.
Okay. Now on to the third game, and there's not really much to say about this one. I'm just going to show you this clip, and it'll kind of, the game will speak for itself. So again, stage 4-2 is kind of where we start. He didn't have that good of an opener. He's playing Dark Flights. He's not rich. You know, there wasn't really any high rolls. He has metabolic, so he's just gonna play for like a top 4. He's rolling for Rengar 2. I don't know if you knew, but he had 50 gold when that turn started, and he had to roll 40 gold to hit Rengar 2.
I don't know, just give up on Graves. I should have swim.
Yeah. Didn't hit Swain pair. He's now broke. There's not really much going for him. Having this spot at 4-2 is not really, you know, a spot that you can play for a win, play for a top 4, let alone a win. And he ends up going 7th this game. And honestly, he was happy about the 7th because he knew from this spot that he thought he was going 8th. On to game 4. Game 4, he played Soyfen, wanted to get a top 4, got a 4th. Nothing really special happened that game. On to game 5. So essentially, if you win this tournament, you get a spot in Worlds. There was 3 people that were able to qualify. I said that earlier. And, you know, you're actively fighting against everyone in this lobby to get that spot to make it to Worlds. So, you know, even 1 point can make the difference. And you can see here that if he, like, loses this fight, like, there's a chance that he actually just goes 8th here. So, you know, it's very tense. Just barely, this Olaf is able to win this round. And, you know, if he died to that Asol, he wouldn't have died. But the thing is look what happens next round. Plays a capped Kaisa board. And he just barely loses. So if you would have lost that previous round, which he barely won, he would have died right here and went 8th. Now with his Olaf 3, fully prepped, 4 warrior, 4 scale scorn, he was able to continue, fight for every single placement, doesn't get 8th, doesn't get 7th, his potential to get a top 4, and then he loses to Robin again. Dies of Ash, ends up getting a 5th. Now obviously that's not what he wants. He was kind of put in a spot where, you know, he has to just play for every single placement. But realistically, he could have went 8th there. And I mean, this also sucks because, you know, he's so close to getting 4th. You can see if he literally had 1 more HP, he would have gotten 4th.
8th, I'm still in it.
But like I said, as long as he didn't go 8th.
I like, it's fine. I don't hit Olaf 3. But like, I just don't get it. I roll and then I'm like, okay, I don't hit Pantheon 3, it's fine. Like, or I don't hit Olaf 3. Like, where the fuck's my Pantheon? Like, it took me too fucking long to get this 4 warrior, and man, I have fucking Tiamat. Oh my god.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Like,
it's
so
real
insane,
it's real
man.
serious.
I was so happy.
Some real serious stuff. Okay, so all of this leads into Game 6. k3soju and Rainsplosion played out of their minds. They're guaranteed to make it to Worlds. k3soju is guaranteed. Rainsplosion, I think, wasn't guaranteed, but like some really funky stuff had to happen. Like she had to, like something about average placement. Like really, like the stars had to align for her to not make it. So basically, Rainplosion, k3soju, top 2, essentially guaranteed. Soju and Kurum are tied. Prestivant, I believe, is 1 point behind them. And Robin is in the running, but he's even farther down than they are. I think 2 points below Prestivant. So realistically, Robin, Soju, Kurum, Prestivant, all fighting for that final spot to make it to Worlds. I mean, going into this Game 6, things started getting real serious. So, here's a moment that I want to share with you guys. Whew. Again, another stage 4. You'll notice a trend. Honestly, there wasn't really that many important things to show in the early game. Because honestly, I watched all the games, and Soju didn't really have, you know, an exciting early game. There was nothing super high roll about them. He kind of just played really well in the late game, got to this position, and in a double silver augment lobby, He is offered Curse Crown, Windfall, Shimmer Soul. And yeah. He says, I'm trying to win Curse Crown, first or eighth. I mean, this is insane. Like, he's really putting himself out there doing this because I'm sure if any of you guys have played with Curse Crown, I mean, this is extremely volatile. Curse Crown could mean, you know, you're in the best spot of your life, and then someone just has like an insane board. They kill you, you take 40. And, you know, you can realistically go from his spot where he's 92 HP on 4-2 and realistically go like bot 2. When you take Curse Crown, you're essentially saying, I am going to hit my board or I'm going 8th. Now, obviously, if you hit your board, you upgrade all of your units that you're trying to play, then your board is insane. Because, I mean, look at his board. His board is basically Soy Fen, but then he gets 2 extra unit slots, like double Fawn. So, this now leads me to this point. Another really impactful fight. So yeah, again, you can see his board. He has Shyvana and Deja on a Soy Fen board. So he's basically just playing Soy Fen. Instead of Jace, he has Shyvana, and then he adds Deja. And he's able to fit both of those because he's playing 4 dragons, so he gets the extra unit slot. He's at 48 HP. Takes 32. But I mean, you can already tell he's going top 4. But there's one issue. Prestivan is above him. So Soju and Prestivan, the only way that Soju can not get outplaced by Prestivan, like I said, Prestivan was in the running and he was 1 point behind. So the only way that Soju can lose to him
What the fuck is my goal?
is if he outplaces him by 2 placements. Because let's say Soju goes second, Prestivan goes first, well then they would be tied because then they would end up with the same amount of points. But then the tiebreaker accounts for who has the most firsts and who has the most top 4s. And Soju knows that he has more top 4s and firsts than Prestivan. So if they end up tying, Soju wins the tiebreaker. So I mean, you can kind of tell, like he's trying to position his. I mean, he's shaken. I mean, who wouldn't be? Game 6, after all this like effort, work, hours like grinding the game, trying to figure out the best strategies, and your fate is in the hands of a Cursed Crown prismatic game. And he fights Prestivan and just barely edges out a win. Puts him in range of lethal, while also being in range of lethal because he has Cursed Crown. Pretty sure if he took a 1 unit loss, he would die here. And it's always got to be the cap Seraphine Graves boards that are somehow beating boards with double Fawn. But he ends up losing to Goobums. Goes 4th.
Wait.
Prestivan goes 3rd. See, he doesn't even know.
Holy fuck! Wait. Hold on. Let me make sure I'm not trolling. Rain has one first. I get 529. I outplace Kurum. Kyvik's in. Holy fuck. Dude.
And so yeah, I'm pretty sure his chat was spamming that he made it to Worlds because, you know, some people did the calculations and all that. But wow, I mean, yeah, I mean it's extremely deserved. He's obviously extremely competitive player, even though most people like to clown on him and stuff like that. But yeah, I think I mean, he played some amazing games. Like I said, I watched a lot of the games, and you know, I don't think he had any like ridiculous high rolls. And to play like 6 games and not have any ridiculous high rolls in a tournament, I mean, that almost guarantees that like you're not going to like win the event or whatever. And so I mean, obviously he didn't get first, but he ended up top 3, which is all you need to get to Worlds. And yeah. You know, it's funny because after the first game when he got 4th and called everybody bad because of how bad his spot was, he he said this tourney was free and that he's winning Worlds. So obviously he didn't win Worlds, but he half called his shots because I mean he's on the path to win Worlds. And so there's still more TFT to be played, but I mean I'm excited. I'm excited for him going to Worlds. But yeah, I hope you like the recap. I thought this was like a pretty hype event. Day 1 and day 2, they're kind of hard to follow because they changed the lobbies up around. But I mean, day 3 was fantastic because through all 6 of the games, it's the same people. So it's a lot easier to follow storylines. It's a lot easier to figure out like the vibe of the players because I mean, when you're watching the games, you see the placement of everyone. When there's more than one lobby, it's like hard to keep track. And then when there's more than one lobby, they switch the lobbies up around so that it just like helps with like seating and stuff like that. Make sure there's not like an unfair advantage. But yeah, that's about all from me. If you like this recap, let me know. I'm hyped to see Soju play at Worlds alongside the other two. Bet. Smojo.